Environment and climate change are one of the top priorities in our cooperation programs. So much so that we have a 20% target, expenditure target of all our development activities. And we have a really great hook to do that. The broadest one is the SDG agenda, and we have 3 goals among SDGs that are directly relevant to environment and climate change. We also have the Paris Agreement. That's the first ever global climate deal binding on all countries. And we have the Hyderabad Biodiversity Convention, where we've committed to double our biodiversity investments. So, reminding what our former Director General said, business as usual will not do the trick. We absolutely need to mainstream environment and climate change in our cooperation programs to be able to meet our targets.
These new guidelines very much are an update of previous guidelines, so they first build on the experience gained in applying the previous guidelines and on a recent evaluation of our action in environment and climate change. Secondly, these guidelines take into account new policy developments, and important new policy development like the adoption of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. Thirdly, these guidelines try now to be more user-friendly, and we hope we succeeded. They are significantly shorter than the previous guidelines. I think it's important to mention that these guidelines are not isolated, but they are part of a broader toolbox. So we have tried to provide a comprehensive offer of support and services to EU delegations. So this offer includes the new guidelines, but also includes all the annexes to these guidelines.
These annexes are ready-to-use tools. So it's terms of reference. If you're going to write terms of reference for an environmental impact assessment, you've never done that before, you're not going to reinvent the wheel, are you? You're going to look to an annex which has got some specimen terms of reference, which you can then use as an example. They also provide concrete examples. That's useful, isn't it? Concrete examples, case studies of EU projects. For instance, how to mainstream in budget support for the water sector in Bolivia. How did they do it? What was the secret of their success? What were the things that went wrong? What are the hints and tips for how to do that?
These guidelines are also supported by a number of sector notes, and these sector notes focus on particular sectors and try to provide practical examples of what can be done to green agriculture, to green transport, to green our support to the energy sector, for example.
Basically, there are 3 areas that these guidelines can really be of value. The first point is that it picks out entry points, practical, pragmatic entry points in the program cycle, which the program officer or people in the EUD and also national partners can relate to. So at the programming stage, at the identification stage, at the formulation stage, implementation and closure.
It's also important to mention that we provide support to delegation also through our mainstreaming facility. So we have a pool of technical assistance that can help delegations to apply the guidelines and to green their country programs.